This story begins deep in the Peruvian Amazon rainforest. There, we meet a scientist named Constance Webb, who is searching for a rare species of spider alongside her partner, Ezekiel Sims. According to local legends, these spiders possess extraordinary abilities. During their expedition, Ezekiel tells Constance that the spiders have the power to make people incredibly powerful. He even mentions a mysterious group known as the Loseras, members of a local tribe who supposedly gain spider-like abilities from these creatures. According to the stories, they can move through the jungle with incredible speed, climb trees effortlessly, and use their venomous powers to punish those who do evil. But Constance isn't convinced. She firmly tells Ezekiel that her research is based on science, not myths and legends. As the search continues, Constance suddenly begins feeling pain in her stomach. She's pregnant. Even so, she refuses to stop and keeps pushing forward. A short time later, Ezekiel returns to camp. Unknown to everyone else, he secretly photographs Constance's research notes and prepares to steal her work. Before he can leave, however, Constance arrives with incredible news. She has found the spider, the very spider whose venom is believed to contain those mysterious powers. Constance and her team are thrilled, but their celebration lasts only seconds. Without warning, Ezekiel pulls out a gun and shoots every member of the expedition. Then he turns toward Constance and demands the spider. The truth is finally revealed. Ezekiel never cared about the research. He had been helping Constance all along, only to obtain the spider for himself. When Constance refuses to hand it over, Ezekiel shoots her as well and steals the spider before escaping into the jungle. Severely wounded and barely alive, Constance collapses. Moments later, a member of the Loseras tribe appears. Unlike ordinary people, he possesses the mysterious spider abilities spoken of in the legends. He carries Constance to a hidden location deep within the rainforest and places her inside a sacred pool filled with strange healing water. There, he injects spider venom into her body in a desperate attempt to save her life. During the process, Constance gives birth to a baby girl. But despite their efforts, Constance dies shortly afterward. Her newborn daughter survives, and that child is named Cassie. 30 years later, the story shifts to New York City. Cassie Webb is now an adult working as a paramedic for the city's emergency response unit alongside her partner Ben Parker. One day, while transporting an elderly woman to the hospital, a teenage girl named Maddie suddenly runs into the road in front of their ambulance. Thankfully, Cassie manages to avoid an accident, and they safely arrive at the hospital, saving the woman's life. The elderly woman's young son is incredibly grateful. Before leaving, he thanks Cassie and Ben and even gives them a handwritten thank you letter. Inside the hospital, Cassie also meets the woman's stepdaughter, Julia Carpenter. At the time, it seems like nothing more than a random encounter, but in reality, Julia, Maddie, and another girl named Anya are all connected by a much bigger mystery. A mystery that somehow leads back to Cassie herself. Later that day, Cassie returns home carrying the thank you letter. In her apartment building lives a teenage girl named Anya. At that moment, an elderly neighbor is asking Anya questions about her parents, though she doesn't seem interested in answering. For now, it feels like another ordinary moment. But these three girls are about to become very important. Cassie lives alone with her cat. Ever since her mother's death decades ago, she has never really had a family. Because of that, she often finds herself looking through old photographs of Constance and reading the research journals she left behind. Among those belongings is Constance's original notebook, filled with information about the Peruvian Amazon, the mysterious spiders, and the legends of the Loseras tribe. Cassie misses her mother deeply, even though she never truly knew her. The next day, Cassie and Ben are called to a major emergency. A vehicle is hanging dangerously off the side of a bridge after an accident. Working together, they manage to pull the trapped driver out of the car, but just as they succeed, disaster strikes. The vehicle suddenly gives way, and Cassie falls with it into the river below. As she sinks beneath the water, something strange happens. Time seems to slow down. Mysterious visions begin flashing before her eyes. She sees strange images she can't explain, and surrounding her in every direction is a giant web of glowing spider threads, as if something hidden deep inside her has finally begun to awaken. The reason Cassie is experiencing these strange visions goes all the way back to the day she was born. 30 years earlier, when a member of the Loseras tribe tried to save Constance Webb by injecting her with the venom of the powerful spider, something unexpected happened. During that process, baby Cassie was born, and traces of that spider venom were passed on to her. Because of that, Cassie unknowingly inherited extraordinary abilities. Now that those powers are finally awakening, she has begun seeing brief glimpses of the future. When Cassie opens her eyes after falling into the river, she finds herself safely on shore. Ben had jumped in after her and pulled her out before she drowned. As they talk, Cassie notices something strange. It feels like Ben is repeating the same sentence twice, but when she asks him about it, Ben is confused. From his perspective, he only said it once. What Cassie doesn't realize is that she's seeing a few seconds into the future before those moments actually happen. Her powers have started activating, allowing her to predict events moments before they occur. Since she has no idea she possesses superhuman abilities, she's completely overwhelmed and has no explanation for what's happening to her. Meanwhile, we catch up with Ezekiel Sims. After obtaining the spider's power years ago, Ezekiel has become incredibly wealthy, influential, and dangerous. One day, he attends a high-level event where he meets a female NSA officer. The two quickly develop a connection and eventually become intimate. However, Ezekiel has an ulterior motive. The real reason he approached her is because she possesses access to a powerful surveillance device capable of monitoring security cameras and electronic systems across the country. Soon afterward, Ezekiel experiences another terrifying vision. In it, he sees three young women, Julia, Anya, and Maddie, and in the vision they kill him. This nightmare has been haunting him for years. Somehow, in the future, these three girls will gain powerful abilities and become the cause of his death. Determined to prevent that future from happening, Ezekiel decides to find them first. To do that, he murders the NSA officer, steals her surveillance device, and obtains the access codes needed to track the girls down. The next day, Cassie and Ben head to Ben's house to meet up with friends and family. Ben's sister-in-law is pregnant, so everyone is gathering for a small celebration. During the party, Cassie joins the women in a game where they try to guess the baby's future name. But suddenly, the strange visions return. Once again, she feels like she's living the same moment twice. Events seem to happen before they actually happen. Cassie is completely stunned. Just then, Ben receives an emergency call and asks Cassie to come with him. The two immediately leave the party and rush to the scene of a major accident. A factory has caught fire, leaving multiple people injured. Cassie quickly begins helping unconscious victims, but while working, the visions become even stronger. She keeps seeing brief flashes of events before they happen, almost like she's watching the future in real time. The more it happens, the more confused she becomes. Desperate for answers, Cassie approaches her supervisor. Earlier, she saw a vision showing him dying in a traffic accident. Terrified, she begs him not to drive the ambulance and offers to drive instead. Unfortunately, he dismisses her concerns. Believing she's simply traumatized from her recent accident, he ignores the warning and drives off himself. Seconds later, the exact event from Cassie's vision happens. A truck crashes into the ambulance, killing him instantly. Cassie is horrified. Watching her prediction come true shakes her to the core, and she starts blaming herself for not being able to stop it. Ben tries to comfort her, reminding her that none of this was her fault. At the same time, Ezekiel gives the stolen surveillance device to one of his associates and orders her to locate Julia, Maddie, and Anya. Finding those three girls has become his top priority. After all, he believes they are the key to preventing his own death. Meanwhile, Cassie finally decides to seek medical help. She visits a doctor, hoping to understand why these bizarre experiences keep happening. After running several tests, the doctor finds absolutely nothing wrong with her. Physically, Cassie appears completely healthy, so the doctor gives her some simple advice. Take a week off, relax, watch some old movies, get some rest. According to the doctor, Cassie is likely dealing with stress from her recent trauma, and with enough time, everything should return to normal. But neither of them realizes that what's happening to Cassie has nothing to do with stress. Her powers are only beginning to awaken. Meanwhile, while Cassie is home alone trying to make sense of everything that's happening, she gets a call from Ben. He encourages her to attend their chief's funeral, believing it might help her process everything that has happened. After hanging up, something strange catches Cassie's attention. A pigeon suddenly slams into her apartment window and dies instantly. The sight makes her feel terrible. But then, just seconds later, she experiences the exact same moment again. This time, however, the window is open. Instead of crashing into the glass, the pigeon flies safely into the apartment and then back outside. That's when Cassie finally understands what's been happening. The first event wasn't real. It was a glimpse of the future. For the first time, she realizes that she's actually seeing events before they happen. Her visions aren't hallucination, they're predictions. Now convinced that she can see pieces of the future, Cassie heads out to attend the funeral. At the same time, Ezekiel's assistant uses the stolen surveillance system to track down Julia, Maddie, and Anya. After searching through countless security cameras, she finally locates all three girls. They're at a train station. The discovery shocks her. The moment Ezekiel learns their location, he immediately heads there himself. He has one goal: find the girls before the future finds him. Soon afterward, Cassie arrives at the same station on her way to the funeral. Coincidentally, Julia, Maddie, and Anya are boarding the exact same train. But the second Cassie steps inside, Another powerful vision hits her. This time, she sees something terrifying. Ezekiel attacks the 3 girls and murders them. The vision feels completely real. Then Cassie looks up and sees Ezekiel approaching in real life. Immediately, she realizes the girls are in danger. Without explaining anything, she grabs Julia, Maddie, and Anya and rushes them out of the station. Naturally, the girls think she's completely insane. They have no idea she's trying to save their lives. As they're arguing, Ezekiel spots them and begins moving toward them. The situation quickly turns into chaos. Cassie desperately tries to calm the girls down while also figuring out how to escape. Then Ezekiel appears wearing his spider-powered suit. The moment Cassie sees him coming, she knows they have no time left. Everyone starts running. Luckily, while Ezekiel is distracted fighting station security, Cassie manages to get the girls into a car and speeds away. But their problems are far from over. While driving, Cassie hears a news report saying that police are searching for her. Since she was seen dragging 3 teenage girls out of a train station, authorities believe she kidnapped them. Cassie is horrified. Things get even worse when she learns that Julia, Maddie, and Anya all live alone and have nobody to protect them. Realizing they're still targets, she decides to keep them with her until she figures out what's going on. To prevent anyone from tracking them, she destroys their phones and takes them far away from the city. Meanwhile, Ezekiel orders his assistant to use the city's surveillance network to locate the girls again. But this time, the search comes up empty. Cassie has taken them deep into a remote wooded area where there are no cameras to track them. Later, the girls begin bombarding Cassie with questions. How did she know they were in danger? Who was that man crawling on walls like a spider? And why is all of this happening? Listening to them, Cassie suddenly remembers something. Her mother's research journal. She recalls reading stories about people with spider-like powers. Leaving the girls temporarily hidden in the woods, Cassie drives back home to investigate. Once there, she starts carefully reading through Constance Webb's notes. Inside, she finds information about mysterious individuals known as the Loseras. According to local legends, their abilities come from powerful spider venom. The venom grants them enhanced strength, incredible speed, the ability to climb walls, and even the power to see glimpses of the future. As Cassie reads further, everything begins to connect. She can see the future. The Loseras can see the future. Could she somehow be connected to them? For a moment, she even wonders if she might be one of them. Determined to test the theory, Cassie tries climbing a wall like the spider-powered people described in the journal. It doesn't go well. She immediately falls flat on her face. Clearly, she hasn't unlocked every ability. But then she discovers something even more shocking. While flipping through the journal, she finds an old photograph. In the picture is her mother, standing beside Ezekiel Sims. Cassie freezes. Her heart starts racing, because she has no idea why the man hunting those girls would be connected to her mother. And for the first time, she realizes this mystery is much bigger than she ever imagined. Meanwhile, back in the woods, Julia, Maddie, and Anya run into a very simple problem. They're out of food. Even though Cassie specifically told them to stay hidden, the girls decide to ignore her instructions and head to a nearby diner to grab something to eat. The moment they enter the restaurant, security cameras capture their faces, and that's all Ezekiel needs. Using the city's surveillance network, he immediately discovers their location and heads there to finish what he started. At the same time, Cassie returns to the hideout and realizes the girls are gone. Panic instantly sets in. Knowing something is wrong, she starts searching for them and eventually finds them at the nearby diner. To her surprise, the girls are completely carefree. They're dancing, laughing, and having fun as if nothing is wrong. Cassie is furious. After everything that's happened, she can't believe they ignored her warning. She starts dragging them out of the restaurant, but then Ezekiel arrives. Without hesitation, he launches an attack. Cassie throws herself between him and the girls, desperately trying to protect them. But during the fight, Ezekiel stabs her in the stomach. Everything goes dark. For a moment, it seems like she's dead. Then something impossible happens. Cassie suddenly finds herself back in time. She's standing in the woods again before the attack ever happened. Completely shocked, she realizes her powers have evolved. She didn't just see the future. Somehow, she experienced an alternate future and returned before it happened. Knowing exactly what's coming, Cassie races toward the diner. This time, she arrives just as Ezekiel is about to kill the girls. Without slowing down, she slams her car directly into him, sending him flying and giving everyone a chance to escape. With Julia, Maddie, and Anya safely in the vehicle, Cassie speeds away. On the drive back, she lets them have it. She's angry because they knowingly broke the rules and nearly got themselves killed. Eventually, they return to Cassie's apartment. For the first time, the girls begin opening up about their lives. Anya explains that after her father abandoned her mother years ago, her mother never recovered emotionally. Eventually, she was institutionalized, while her father moved on and started a new family that wanted nothing to do with Anya. So now, I'm basically on my own. Maddie shares her story next. Her family still lives in China, but she feels completely disconnected from them. She believes they never truly cared about what she wanted and only saw her as a burden. As a result, she chose to live independently. Then Julia reveals her own painful truth. truth. When Cassie suggests going to the police for protection, Julia immediately refuses. My dad was deported 6 months ago. One day I came home, and he was just gone. She also reveals that her mother died when she was very young. Now she's afraid that if the authorities become involved, she could lose everything she has left. Listening to their stories, Cassie realizes something important. Every one of these girls is alone, just like she is. Feeling a deep connection to them, she decides she'll protect them herself until this nightmare is over. Meanwhile, Ezekiel discovers something shocking. Cassie Webb is Constance Webb's daughter, the daughter of the woman he betrayed 30 years ago. The revelation catches even him off guard. Not long afterward, Cassie experiences another powerful vision. In it, she confronts Ezekiel directly. He finally reveals why he's so desperate to kill the girls. According to him, years in the future, Julia, Maddie, and Anya will gain extraordinary powers. Together, they will become powerful enough to kill him. Cassie is stunned. Not only is Ezekiel admitting his plan to murder them, but she's also learning that the girls themselves are destined to develop abilities one day. Who gave you the right to decide who lives and who dies? But Ezekiel doesn't care. To him, survival is all that matters. The following day, the tension finally begins to ease. As they spend more time together, Cassie and the girls start becoming surprisingly close. They laugh together, bond like a family, and even practice emergency first aid techniques, with Cassie teaching them how to help people during medical emergencies. Later, Cassie shows them an old photograph of her mother. The girls immediately recognize someone else in the picture, Ezekiel. They're shocked to see him standing beside Constance years before any of this began. Cassie then explains everything she learned from her mother's research journals. According to the notes, a mysterious tribe in Peru possesses abilities beyond ordinary human understanding, people capable of climbing walls, running through trees, and moving like spiders. The more she learns, the more convinced she becomes that the answers she's looking for are hidden in the Peruvian Amazon. Determined to uncover the truth, Cassie decides she has to go there herself, but she can't take the girls into danger, so she arranges for Julia, Maddie, and Anya to stay with Ben Parker while she's gone. With Ben watching over them, they're safer than anywhere else, and for the first time, Cassie finally has a direction. The truth about her mother, her powers, and Ezekiel's connection to everything is waiting for her in Peru. After a long journey, Cassie finally arrives deep in the Peruvian Amazon. While exploring the jungle, she encounters a member of the mysterious Loseras tribe, and to her surprise, he's the very same man who tried to save her mother 30 years ago. The man looks at her and calmly says, "I always knew you would come here one day." He then reveals the truth behind everything. Constance Webb originally came to Peru to research the spiders because she was searching for a way to strengthen healing tissues and cure a devastating illness. But Ezekiel betrayed her, stole the spider, and left her to die. According to the tribesman, Ezekiel has spent years trying to escape the fate that was always waiting for him. Without warning, the man pushes Cassie into the same mysterious pool where she was born. The moment she enters the water, powerful visions begin flooding her mind. She watches the past unfold before her eyes. She sees her mother and Ezekiel working together in the jungle. She sees Ezekiel murder the entire research team. She sees him shoot Constance and steal the spider before fleeing. But that's not all. Cassie also discovers why her mother came to Peru in the first place. Years earlier, doctors had told Constance that her unborn child suffered from a deadly condition with no known cure. That child was Cassie. Desperate to save her daughter, Constance traveled across the world after learning rumors about a spider venom that could heal almost anything. Everything she did, every risk she took, was for Cassie. Then, inside the vision, Cassie finally gets to meet her mother, for the first time in her life. The two embrace, and Cassie is overwhelmed with emotion. At last, she understands the truth. Her mother never abandoned her. She sacrificed everything to save her. When Cassie emerges from the vision, she can barely process what happened. "I was there. I was with my mother. How did you do that?" The tribesman smiles. "That wasn't me. That was you." He explains that her abilities are finally awakening. She came to Peru searching for answers about her past, but she's leaving with the power to shape the future. Still, Cassie isn't convinced. "How am I supposed to stop Ezekiel? He's stronger than me, faster than me, and can climb walls like a spider." The tribesman gives her one final lesson. "You are the only person who can change the future. Once you fully accept that responsibility, your true powers will reveal themselves." Meanwhile, back in New York, Ezekiel grows increasingly frustrated. He orders his assistant to locate Julia, Maddie, and Anya using the surveillance network. But there's a problem. The girls are staying at Ben Parker's house, where there are no cameras tracking them. For the moment, they're invisible. One night, however, Ben's pregnant sister-in-law suddenly begins experiencing serious complications. Fearing the worst, Ben rushes her toward the hospital with Julia, Maddie, and Anya riding along. The moment the girls leave the house, Ezekiel's system finally picks up their location. He immediately goes after them. At the same time, Cassie returns from Peru. The second she realizes the girls are in danger, she races to save them. Ben is driving as fast as he can, but Ezekiel has another trick ready. He orders his assistant to hack the city's traffic system and turn every traffic light light green. Within minutes, the streets become completely gridlocked. Ben's vehicle gets trapped in the middle of traffic. That's exactly what Ezekiel was waiting for. As he moves in for the attack, an ambulance suddenly crashes into him at full speed. Behind the wheel is Cassie. The impact sends Ezekiel flying. Using the opportunity, Cassie tells Ben to focus on getting his sister-in-law safely to the hospital. Then she takes Julia, Maddie, and Anya and speeds away in the ambulance. Unfortunately, Ezekiel isn't finished. Before long, he's chasing them again, but Cassie's visions are now Daniver. She already knows exactly when he's going to jump onto the ambulance. The instant he lands on the roof, Cassie activates a trap. An electrical cable is connected to the ambulance's roof, sending a massive shock through Ezekiel's body. The blast knocks him off and buys them more time, but their luck doesn't last. A short distance later, the ambulance completely breaks down. Now they have nowhere to go. Knowing Ezekiel will eventually catch up, Cassie calls for emergency air support and leads the girls into a nearby fireworks factory. Then she comes up with a dangerous plan. Together they ignite fireworks throughout the building. Within moments, explosions are erupting everywhere. When Ezekiel arrives, fireworks are blasting across the factory floor, making it nearly impossible for him to reach them. Using the chaos as cover, Cassie and the girls continue moving toward safety. Soon they spot a rescue helicopter approaching. For a brief moment, it looks like they're finally going to escape, but to reach it, they have to cross the factory and climb onto a massive company sign. Just as they're about to reach safety, Ezekiel attacks again. A brutal final battle erupts high above the burning factory. At one point, Julia, Maddie, and Anya are all moments away from falling into the flames below. Ezekiel taunts Cassie. You can't save all three of them, but he's wrong. By now, Cassie has fully embraced her abilities. Using her expanded vision of time and possibility, she seems to be everywhere at once, guiding and saving each girl exactly when they need her. Furious, Ezekiel focuses all his attention on Cassie. He attacks relentlessly, eventually knocking her away. Now consumed by rage, he decides to kill her first. He starts moving toward her, but he never gets the chance. Earlier, Cassie had already seen a vision of what was about to happen. She deliberately maneuvered Ezekiel into the exact spot she needed him to be. Seconds later, the massive company sign collapses. It crashes directly onto Ezekiel, sending him plummeting to the ground below. This time, there is no escape. Ezekiel Sims is finally dead, but the battle isn't over. As the structure collapses around them, Cassie falls into the river below and suffers devastating injuries. Thankfully, Julia, Maddie, and Anya manage to pull her from the water and rush her to the hospital. Sometime later, life begins to move forward. Ben's sister-in-law successfully gives birth to a baby boy, leaving Ben overjoyed. Meanwhile, Cassie's injuries prove to be permanent. The accident leaves her blind, and the damage to her legs prevents her from walking. When doctors ask about her family, Julia, Maddie, and Anya immediately step forward. They tell everyone that they're her family. And the truth is, that's exactly what they've become. The four of them choose to stay together, supporting one another through everything ahead. After the accident, Cassie's powers fully awaken. Now she can see the future more clearly than ever before. She may have lost her sight, but she can see farther than anyone else. And with that, the story of Madame Webb comes to an end.